Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of At the Movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and I'm joined, as per usual, by Mr. Harry Jobson.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier.
And we are here to talk about, this is the second part of our Star Wars retrospective look. So last week we did essentially the George Lucas Star Wars, so that was the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and then this week is going to be Disney Star Wars, and we're only really going to focus on the films and the Mandalorian show, because I haven't seen any of the other shows, I don't think.
Fair enough. I mean, it's you got Book of Boba Fett, and then you got the rest of this. It can be really hard to sort of keep up.
And as Harry teased, I think I left in last week's episode, Harry is going to be not as positive as he was last week. If you listen to last week's episode, Harry is very complimentary on Star Wars. And
I love Star Wars.
I've said this on, I think I edited this out before, but there was an episode, Harry, you and I were recording with someone else. I believe it's the John Wick episode we recorded. And I don't remember what the context was, but we somehow got onto Star Wars. And
that happens
Disney
a
Star
lot
Wars.
when I'm on episodes. Somehow we always end up somewhere else.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say where we. Well, I've kind of hinted you. I think you and I will have some disagreements this week, and others I think will be in very total agreement on. But I mean, to just sort of get into the history of sort of Star Wars between the prequels and the sequels. They did the Clone Wars TV show, which I have not seen. Have you seen? Have you seen all of it, or?
Well, no, but that's only because I didn't have access to. I didn't have all of it. When I was a kid, it was just whatever episode was on. Video essays on the show. I've seen the show relatively.
So yeah, they did the Clone Wars TV show. Well, they did the Clone Wars movie, which I have seen. I didn't want to watch it again because I hate it, and I think it's a terrible film because it's essentially 4 episodes of the show just stitched together from my memory. I mean, in 2012, I believe it was, Disney acquired Lucasfilm. They didn't just acquire Star Wars, they acquired Lucasfilm, so they got Indiana Jones as well. And this was when they were buying every single. This is the start, I feel like, of them buying every single fucking IP known to man. And I was very hyped for The Force Awakens. I was, at the time when it came out, I would have been 12 years old when it came out at the cinema, but I was aware of it coming out for a couple, when it sort of was announced that they were doing Star Wars, because I was like, oh, I didn't think they'd actually ever do another Star Wars. I kind of figured
it was done.
It had kind of, they just weren't going to do movies anymore. They were just going to do animated shows and stuff. Books and comics and all that. Force Awakens was announced. I think basically everyone was excited for the film. I think basically every fan of Star Wars was really, really looking forward to it. I was talking to friends at school about theories we had before it came out and everything. At the time, this was my take at the time, is I was really pleased with it. I liked it a lot, and for me, it was the first Star Wars I saw in the cinema, so I definitely think that helped. Yeah, I really loved it at the time. I've seen it several times since, but this rewatch I did for this podcast is the first rewatch I've done in several years now. It's been a long time since I've seen this film. Yeah, I mean, how did you come to this film? I won't give away my feelings on the film just yet.
Well, yeah. Similarly to yourself, really, except for the fact that I didn't watch it. I caught it on digital release, and that wasn't because I didn't want to. I just watched it the same way I watched every Star Wars, which was put a single mattress or a double or whichever spare mattresses we had around, because big family, people move out and move in mattresses. Chuck it on the ground in the corner of the L-shaped lounge to create a real comfy sort of environment, and you get snacks and you lay on it in the lounge room and you chuck it on the TV, and that's how every Star Wars. But yeah, The Force Awakens, when I first saw it, I fucked with it so hard. Like, I really liked it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like, obviously, there were critiques at the time that I, again, like, and I agreed with as much as a 12-year-old boy could.
I remember there were people who were complaining because it was just A New Hope again, and I even had a friend from school who sort of had that take.
It is and it isn't, and I guess we're just going to get into it now because it is very much like it is for everyone that says, "Oh, the Disney Star Wars," and I'm going to try this when I'm speaking about them with a new perspective because, I mean, it is in the same way of like the original trilogy starts and it doesn't know how it's going to end. Like the creative team behind these trilogies, and Abrams especially, at least for the first and third, it's vague and obscure in the same way that A New Hope is, and it's structured similarly, but it's kind of vague and secure and contradicts itself, because it's Star Wars and that's what Star Wars does. And it all sort of leads to this question that I think you asked me last week. I'm pretty certain, and you asked me, do I see Star Wars as sci-fi or fantasy?
Yes, that is something I did bring up because it's sort of a debate for some people.
Well, these films are pure fantasy. Like, if you watch these Disney films and it's because of Abrams, I assume, is that fandom that Star Wars is fantasy, and that these are because if you follow it more sci-fi, you're going to get more bogged down into the actual like logistical parts of like how everything works. How are they able to hyperdrive through the fucking Star Destroyer? But like, this film is an argument for the entirety of Star Wars being fantasy, and I liked to believe that it was sci-fi, and then I watched that someone had told me that I watch like a content creator sort of discussed that it was like you should watch these films even whether or not you believe Star Wars is fantasy or sci-fi. Watch them as if they're a fantasy, and don't get too bogged down in the logic. And that sucks when you're saying that about a film. It should have logic. These films are far more fantasy than anything we've had.
So yeah, I rewatched Force Awakens a couple of days ago for the purposes of this because it's been a while since I've seen it. I still like it. I don't love it anymore. I think with there's several reasons why. I think for me, it's just a note on this rewatch. I really took note of the writing. And look, I don't think Star Wars is a particularly well written franchise in general. Like even the stuff I like, I found that this film just felt so. A lot of it is just pure convenience, which again is a trope of Star Wars. I just find that, and look, I think saying it's just A New Hope again is to a degree true, but I also think it's a bit reductive to say, because I don't think it completely is in every aspect. I don't know if I fully agree with the it's just A New Hope again, because I think there's a bit more to it than that. But I also don't think the film thinks it's clever by doing similar stuff to A New Hope. I don't think it's trying to hide that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it. I just don't. It sets up something possibly very good that kind of gets lost at a certain point. But we'll get to that in a bit. I mean, I know you've said you're not a fan of Disney Star Wars. I mean, do you like? I mean, just in general, do you like any of the Disney Star Wars films? Like before we get into Force Awakens, probably, do you like any of the Disney Star Wars films?
Yeah, I like Force Awakens.
I think for me, what part of what lets this film down is knowing that it doesn't matter. Like that's kind of the problem I have. Is it's hard to watch this film now, knowing how the trilogy ends, knowing what is done in the sequels. It makes it harder for me to enjoy this film because I know there's nothing to look forward to at the end.
Yeah, well, what I was saying was that The Force Awakens is similar to A New Hope in that it doesn't know how it's going to end, and the sequels end up retconning a bunch of stuff. And yeah, it follows pretty similar narrative beats, but something, and the reason why, yeah, look, a lot of it does get retconned, that and the rest, but it does set up a lot of, and it does things that I quite enjoy, and this is where you can see the writing, at least per character, and the performances that we get are significantly stronger than what we were used to, and that's something you have to praise it for. Specifically, like, I don't want to get into the overall big bad sort of stuff, but with Kylo Ren as a character, I love that he's constantly lashing out, immature, not nearly as stoic as Vader was. Evil, but stoic. He was an absolute brooding, like, he oozed stoicism, at least in the original trilogy. Whereas this one, Kylo Ren is a big baby having a hissy fit, and it's about being torn. But, and again, I will also, and I'm going to speak positively about this. This is what I'm sort of talking about, is kind of in defense of JJ Abrams. He didn't even know, like, there is stuff between, and it's hard to sort of, like, but in his defense, he has an idea of how it should go, and Disney has an idea of how it should go, and it goes through the final filter of Disney, and he ends up losing a film in the trilogy to, jading the whole trilogy ends up jaded.
Yeah, I think that they needed either to. I think the biggest problem with this trilogy is there wasn't like a plan. Like it doesn't feel like Disney spoke to the writers and directors like, okay, this is the story we want to tell across this trilogy. They just let them do what they want, and I'm like, you can't do that with this kind of. You can't do it with a franchise and this like this. Force Awakens leads into Last Jedi with Legends Rise of Skywalker. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just have different writers.
Two different ideas of how the same story is going to go. Like, but at least in The Force Awakens, I feel like what Abrams is setting up is really strong. And I was a fan for a lot of, like, again, the Kylo Ren part, and the part, a lot of pretty much his inner turmoil is what I love about these films. Is I think they fucking nailed him, in my personal opinion. Because you're not supposed to see him as Darth Vader. You're supposed to see him as Darth Vader's grandson that's trying hard to be him, and even might be more powerful, but he's still a child.
I think we're going to be on the same track with that. I think Kylo Ren is easily the best part across the entire trilogy.
But to also bring in a negative, I think they kind of fuck up almost everything else. Almost like, well, at least when you talk about, like, core cast characters, I love what they do. Like, the introduction of Poe in this film, I love him as a character. Like, I love that dynamic about, like, rebelling against a rebellion, and the sort of, like, he's basically Han Solo too. But, like, I love that, and how good of a pilot he is, and they try to prove that. And also, another positive, these films are fucking beautiful, like, all of them. Like, they look stunning. But like, the actual, the core cast of, like, or characters like Finn and Rey, and their dynamics are just so weird. Like it still kind of feels like we're stuck with, like, that George Lucas era of, like, relationships and dialogue that he doesn't quite understand.
It's just those are always drowned out by the really stupid ones, like there's women and minorities in it. Like, that's fucking stupid. That's not criticism. That's valid.
We're in a fiction world where there's droids. Like, what, like, and aliens, and we get Bubba at the end. I fucking love that character. He's awesome. At the in the last film, I love Bubba. But that's not the point. It's like, there's also arguments that is a valid argument to me. The Disney filter that these films go through, they play a big part in why a lot of people don't whole agree. Like I agree.
I
The film, the Disney filters that these films go through can really like they change the tone almost.
Yeah, I think there is a complaint made about some of these films that they've got sort of Marvel-esque dialogue, like quips and stuff, and it
They got
really
Marvel
became a
sequences as well.
yeah. And I mean, I think that's just I mean, look, we talk about how current like blockbuster films aren't great like
Yeah.
they're just sort of a lot of them are so corporate now. And look, Harry, you and I, we're both big Marvel fans. Okay, like we are
Yeah.
maybe being
Yeah.
hypocritical when we say this, but I think the difference is, and to be fair, I really like the MCU. Phases 1 to 3. Everything after that is a
Yeah.
bit more spotty. But I mean, you look at I mean, you just look at other, I mean, let's look at like if you look at Warner Brothers, every DC film they did for like a decade was kind of the same in tone, like in terms of how it looked, like how it was shot. Like, where
They're
is the
always dark.
personality? Like, there isn't personality. I think I will say this. I think Last Jedi has a lot of personality to how it's like directed and everything, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I think generally speaking, a lot of these Disney Star Wars films don't really have personality to them. Like,
Well, it's yeah, but it's in a similar argument where Sam and oh wow, Harry's managed to make himself talk about Spider-Man. But it's like Sam Raimi's Spider but Sam Raimi's Spider-Man feels distinctly Sam Raimi, whereas like the Marvel Spider-Man feels Disney Spider-Man, and in a way that it doesn't feel like there's a creative mind behind it, and I think that's why these films are what sparked the George Lucas cult that we have today, which is just that like well, we worship him because he's not a giant corporation. Like, yeah, but he's also a guy that doesn't know how to fucking dialogue. Like,
yeah,
you take the good with the bad.
yeah.
There are a lot of bad parts about these films, these trilogy, and continuing Disney Star Wars projects that it is the fault of Disney. A lot of characters that purely exist because they'll sell a plushie, or like,
Mm, yeah.
but or like characters designs based purely on. But that's not to say it wasn't the same, you know,
I mean,
when
yeah,
Lucas was
it's
making Star Wars films, there was R2D2 toys everywhere. There was wings. There was
yeah.
like
I
type.
mean,
Yeah,
Jar Jar Binks was meant to appeal to kids, like this slapstick comedy. Like I think people always say, "Oh, they've commercialized Star Wars," and I'm like, Star Wars has always been commercialized. Like, let's not act like Disney is the reason it's suddenly commercial because it's not. It's one of the
yeah.
biggest franchises ever made. It's always been
Probably the
like,
biggest IP ever.
yeah, like it's everybody has seen Star Wars. Everybody owns some piece of Star Wars merchandise, whether it be a piece of clothing, like a toy of some kind, an action figure, a Lego set. They probably own the films on DVD or Blu-ray or some form. Like everyone probably owns some bit of Star Wars merch.
I think this is the best of the trilogy to lay my cards out on the, and it's left ultimately vague. So I understand. And I only think it's the best of the trilogy in the scope of the whole trilogy. As an individual film, when I first watched it before the other films came out, there's a lot to criticize. There's that, and rightfully so. If you're watching it as released in new audiences, just reskinned everything. But no, like, and there's something so strong. Again, I kind of just like I want to talk positively, and the main thing that, besides the performances, I think Daisy Ridley, Harrison Ford, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, they all great. Like
Yeah,
they're all
I,
phenomenal.
I,
Especially Harrison Ford. He pulled out a performance in this film that you hadn't seen from him for like 20
yeah.
fucking years.
I mean, it's probably because he knew he was dying in this one, and he was like, "Well, I might as well give it
I'll
my
go out with a
all." Like,
bang.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this film. I feel bad for so many of these actors because these are all generally very good actors. I've seen these actors in other things, and they're giving very good performances in other films. Like, I do not want to blame the actors, and whenever the actors, again, I think I said this last week. I will never blame an actor for giving a bad performance in a Star Wars movie just because the writing is not great in these films. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna blame an actor for that kind of shit because it's Star Wars, and Star Wars isn't like, the most known for great writing for characters and stuff.
But I've seen a lot of criticism on Daisy Ridley, and I just want to say her performances throughout the entire trilogy. I think she plays the perfect protagonist. I really do. I hate the criticism of Rey as a protagonist. I think especially Daisy Ridley's performance, the way she can give that sort of hopeful, stoic look. And this isn't about the different. And there's a core difference. Again, obviously, you get into the what do you call it, the law based differences. Like, she isn't supposed to be Luke. Luke was raised on a farm. Luke was raised. Rey's character wasn't. She's been a scavenger for. Of course, she's gonna be already great with a lightsaber because she's great with a star. Of course, she's gonna be like handy and quippy and intelligent and like.
Yeah, there are certain criticisms that are made of Rey as a character that I'm like, I know, like, people like to say she's a Mary Sue, and I'm like, I mean, did we all just kind of forget that Luke destroyed the Death Star with no guiding system or anything? Like, let's be honest.
And the
a lot
argument
of
was,
characters in
he's
Star
just
Wars,
pretty strong with the Force.
Yeah, and it's like, look, a lot of Star Wars characters have plot armor when the film needs them to. Like, that's just how Star Wars is. It's the only reason people are obsessed is because it's a woman. Like, that's it, really.
Yeah, well, there's the genuine. It's a genuine criticism of those criticisms. Is like saying that, like, when people say, "Oh, it's just a woman," fuck you. like honestly, I don't even care. I don't care about your opinion. If you're just gonna use it as a can't handle the fact that a girl protagonist is power, cry. Go listen to Drake.
And I think Rey is actually not a bad character. I genuinely think she's actually a decent character that does get ruined later on. But that's not the fault of Daisy Ridley. It's the fault of the writers who didn't know what to do with her. Because I think there's a lot. I mean, we'll talk about this with the sequels. I like a lot of what they establish and set up with her character that then gets undone by the end of the trilogy, but we'll say that for later. I think Finn, I still think John Boyega as Finn I still like him a lot. Again, I really feel like the sequels shortchanged him terribly because
I'm going to criticize him, a lot throughout the entire trilogy, but like it's nothing to do with the actors and their performances. I think they're great.
I think that Adam Driver's great. I remember before the film came out, we didn't see anything of Luke. Like, we knew Mark Hamill was in the movie, but we did not see a single frame of Luke Skywalker in this. And there's that bit towards the end where Kylo, he's reaching out for the lightsaber, for Luke's lightsaber, and then it swings past him. And I am thinking, like, did they at any point think maybe that would be Luke? Like, it would go fly past him, and it would be Luke, and Luke would be the one to grab it. Like, that's genuine. Like, I wonder what the process was.
Yeah, I think a lot of, and it's so funny to me that even with Disney, Star Wars is doomed. Like, Star Wars is a tragedy in the way that no matter what, it is going to never, like, no matter who's in charge.
Yeah.
Real good idea on what they're going to do. Everything is vague always, and everything gets retconned. It's Star Wars, and I hate the argument of just saying that's just Star Wars. It's bad writing, but Star Wars it just seems to be cursed with bad writers. Like, it seems to be not completely bad writers, because again, I think Rey as a character has a lot of, like, especially if you go down a particular angle and they don't go down a particular angle, and it ends up really affecting the entire everything that we'll get into it, but like, she has so much potential as a character, and I think she's foundationally written really well. But these films don't know. They don't even know how each individual end. I honestly reckon that they haven't finished writing the film before they start shooting.
I could believe that. I could believe they went into production without a finished script, which is, by the way, fucking a sin. Like, let's just let's just be honest.
It happens, that that happened in Return of the Jedi.
And there's a reason
Like
why that's the worst of
they
the
started
original
production, but yeah.
trilogy. Can I just say, I'm fucking sick of fucking Death Stars in these movies.
Oh my god! I mean, Han Solo says that. Like he actually says that. He
Yeah,
will not particularly. He's always like, "Why is it always so big?" And I'm like, "Yeah, on God, like,
yeah. It's
can we
like,
get? I'd love something different."
yeah, it's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, it's just so. Yeah, we do fucking another Death Star, and it's like, why the fuck? We're doing another fucking Death Star, and then fucking Rise of Skywalker, they do Death Stars again, but on like Imperial cruisers, and it's like, what the? Can we not come up with literally any other fucking idea for what these characters have to do? Like, it's just like, no, it's just an even bigger Death Star. It's just like, I just don't care. Like, I just so like it's just like, man, we really can't come up with anything else. Let's just do a Death Star again. Like, I like this movie. It's just, it's so frustrating in a lot of places because it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? I like this movie. I think there's a lot I still do like. I think I do. Again, this might upset some people, but I do like the moment near the end where, Kylo, he's reaching for the lightsaber and then it flies past him and Ray catches it, and it's just like the
Yeah,
music just starts to seep in. I think that's a genuinely really great moment. I think it's a
yeah.
really
It's
great.
kind of like, where have I seen like a similar? I think what was it? It was like Thor. Like Thanos was about to kill Thor, right? And then
Yeah, it's yeah, Thor.
Mjolnir starts levitating and Cap. But like that's what I'm saying, right? Is that Disney did it in this, and then they're like, "Oh, with the exact fucking shot for shot, but in Endgame." And no one talks about it. I was watching it, and I did the whole like whistle at the screen and the click. I was like, wait, I've seen that. Something I wanted to mention is it, like, especially as a 12-year-old boy, but like even now, I fucking hate seeing Han die because he's not a Jedi and he doesn't have that full, like, you know what I mean? Like when Han dies, it is such a, and I understand it's
I
to
actually, yeah, I
really
did want
show that
to
Kylo
see,
Ren
yeah,
is the
what you
new big
thought of that.
bad,
Yeah,
but I don't see it that way. Like it's like, oh, Han is never that dumb to fall for a trap like that, and I truly believe, like, and
yeah.
it's the
I
problem.
actually do want to ask, how do you feel like Han? Because I feel like I've seen a lot of people who don't like how Han is written as a character. Because he's not with Leia anymore. He's back to being a smuggler, like sort of reverting back to old ways.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that.
I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. And I knew going in Han was gonna die. I was
Yeah,
like the only way they've brought Harrison Ford back is if he's going to die.
yeah.
Like
Which
I
to
there I think there is a good discussion we had about whether his death is like fulfilling or if it's a justified end. Like if yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
yeah, I'll let you know how I feel. So the way I feel about I, to be honest, kind of and hated at the time and still hate now. And it's something they do with all the characters. It is in this time, in this 30 years between the original trilogy and this and the timing of like when this happens in universe,
Mhm.
so much just happens off screen. like and it's just all
Mm.
and Han just like completely changes it fucking like, and they do it with Luke as well, and we're about to talk about the next film, so we'll, and it's Mark Hamill has been incredibly vocal about it, but it like the whole just retconning everything that's happened in the original trilogy to suit the Disney narrative of like, oh, the new Disney
Mm.
era that they're trying to go for. I hate what they did to Han, but when it comes to his death, beautiful. And the reason why is obviously it's at the hand of his son. He's making a sacrifice. He's not he like Han Solo wouldn't fall for that trap, right? Like he probably knows that he's going to die here. Harrison Ford knows, but like Han,
Mm.
like is like in a way, like he just loves his son so much that he's willing to sacrifice, try to reach Ben instead of Kylo Ren. Like that's in the recent, especially the recent rewatch I did. That's the perspective I came into it with, and it makes it a much more meaningful death. And because Star Wars is so vague, I'm a completely valid to have that, and anyone else is completely valid to have pretty much whatever perspective they want on it. And that's the argument that it's setting up that it's that's part of the argument. You know, like Star Wars is a fantasy,
Mm.
because it's just vague as fuck. But like, yeah, the way I saw that is that, and I mean, we get it relatively. We'll talk about it, but when we get sort of the end of Kylo's arc, and like the rebirth of Ben's arc, it it directly relates to that. It just we wasted time in the middle, and we were about to argue. So, but like to give Force Awakens at least my personal rating overall for the whole film, I think it's a 7 out of 10. I really enjoy it, although fault like again the whole Disney.
That's what I give it. I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. I think it does not hold up on a rewatch,
It's harder on a
and
rewatch.
it's harder to, and retrospectively, it makes it harder to watch, knowing where
Mhm.
it goes and how it all ends. But next up was Rogue One, one of the
Oh yeah, yeah.
Disney. They were going to start doing these sort of spin-off films, from
Hmm.
which I'm theoretically not opposed to. I mean, to
Yeah.
be honest, did anybody ask for this film? Like,
No, but no one's asked for anything that Disney's churned out when it comes to like additional outside of or like chronological film content. You know, like when it comes to like TV series as well. Like, and they still like this. If anything, Rogue One was kind of the birth of like a proof of concept for Disney to see what world building films can we do,
yeah.
and how much money are we still going to get from this IP? How can we like how are we able
Yeah.
to build upon this IP?
I mean, they made they made $1 billion from this, so they clearly.
So, do you like Rogue One?
I do. I Again, it's harder to watch because I've since seen Andor, which is considerably better.
I love Rogue.
I think it's the most. For a while, I think I would have said it's the best Disney Star Wars film. I don't know if I agree with that anymore, but I do get if someone said this is the best Disney Star Wars film, I'd be like, yeah, no, that's fair enough, because I think it is good. There's some very, again, as is the case with every Star Wars film, some really wonky writing. It takes a while to really get going, but I will say the third act on that desert planet, that's great. Like, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm all on board with that. It's just everything sort of beforehand, I'm like, less. Not that it's bad per se, although there are some odd bits that I don't care for. I think this really, the thing I hate maybe the most about Disney Star Wars is the nostalgia and how
Yeah.
they try to cram in so many references. Like there's that scene where they see the two guys that like Obi-Wan cuts the arm off of in the Mos Eisley Cantina on Tatooine.
Yeah, which is so unnecessary.
It is completely unnecessary. I think it's bad writing because there's no reason for those characters to be there. It is just
It's incredibly
pure
cheap.
fan service. It is empty fan service. And like again, I am not immune to fan service. I've said this before. I think No Way Home is a great film. That is a film of fan service. You know,
I
no,
think
that is
fan
what
service works great if it serves the plot.
it does not serve the plot here. It is literally just
Yeah.
let's have these characters show up just so the audience can be like, hey, I know those people. Whereas with No Way Home, the fan service stuff is like it is plot relevant and it does further what's going on.
Yeah. Oh man, I love Rogue One. Like
Mm.
because it is a war film. It is it's a war story, and that's the
It is
thing.
the
Is
most war film Star Wars has ever been.
because Star Wars is, and again, I mean, this is Disney forcing the argument per fantasy. I again am still in the book that I believe it's sci-fi. Like as a war film, it works so well as an individual story, and it also is one of the very few Star Wars films that has a plot that doesn't have fucking anything to do with like obviously
Jedi.
it's about well obviously it's about rebellion and the Empire, but it's not the core narrative isn't it's not about like a big explosion at the end. It's not about a big
No,
sacrifice. I mean, ultimately
it's
it is, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
but it's
it's
about like
it's a heist film essentially.
it's a
Like
hospital. It's just fucking getting the plans from point A to point B, and it's awesome. I love it. Like I love it for that, and that concept still works incredibly well across the. I mean, have a look at the Mandalorian. Is essentially about objective A getting to objective B without it
mm,
being like some huge grandiose thing. It's just like a story. You're just following a small story within the Star Wars world, and I love that for Rogue One. If it wasn't for the fact that the main trilogy, like the main, you know, uh, I'm just going to call it the Palpatine Skywalker fucking saga. That if that doesn't just like constantly contradict them trying to world build.
one of sort of my things with the film beforehand, because again I saw this at the cinema, was it was just sort of to me it sort of felt like, well, I kind of know how this ends, and none of these characters are in any of the other films, so I kind of know. And look, I will say, I appreciate that they said that they killed off all these characters. I appreciate that they actually committed to it and killed the characters off, because I there was part of me that, like, they could have so easily said, "Oh, we're not gonna kill any of these people, or we're gonna only kill a couple of them," but they kill all of the crew. They kill all of the Rogue One team, and I think that was the correct choice. I think they made the right choice to kill all of the characters off. So that's probably the best thing about this film, is that it spawned Andor. Like, that's
Well,
my
no, I
favorite
also
thing.
yeah,
But no,
yeah, yeah.
no, I
Well,
think I
that's
think
fair.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
really good stuff to it.
It's got good writing. It's got
It's it
it's got decent like compare it comparatively. Like not to say it's not um you know like world ending. But it
yeah.
is it's a relatively like decent dialogue. There's great chemistry, obviously,
Mm.
and that's because it spawned. Andor is a great character. Owns a great series. So like I
Um,
I I do
y-
quite say I see a lot of merit in Rogue.
I think if they'd stuck to the quality of this for the movies, they'd still have kept making movies, and they'd probably still, and they'd be all, decent. And this was done by Gareth Edwards, who is the uh, he did the 2014 Godzilla film, which I'm not huge on. He also did a film called Monsters, which I think is pretty crap. I think that's a pretty terrible film. But Gareth Edwards, my take on him as a director, is he's very much a visual director. Like, he's all about the visuals rather than the writing and the characters and stuff. And getting like great performances and everything. So that is probably why this is maybe the best looking Star Wars movie. Certainly one of the best looking Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially some of the battle sequences as well. Like it almost has that sort of not it feels almost like a more like a real camera than it being on like a big set. Some of these war
Yeah,
sequences,
like
like
it feels like, a lot of it's like they
it's
built
more
sets.
grounded. It's incredibly grounded story.
Yeah,
Like outside of the scope of Star Wars, which it's about blowing up Death Star, so it can only be as grounded as it is to be.
I've heard this take before, and I think it's a very valid take. Darth Vader should have only been in the hallway scene.
Yeah,
Should
I agree.
he should not have been in any of the marketing. Like, no one should have known he was in it. And
The hallway
then
scene though, that hallway scene.
it's one of the best scenes in any Star Wars film.
I think
Like,
it is
not
the
just Disney Star
best.
Wars.
I think it is the best Darth Vader scene.
Yeah, it is great. It's such a great input. And I was talking to someone recently. Is Disney should really just do a Star Wars horror film. Like, they really should,
Oh yeah.
because they could do it well. they could do it very cheaply for what it is for Star Wars, and it would make so much fucking money. And like
Mm,
they can do it. Like this is a really great intense scene where Vader just comes through and he just fucking annihilate. And like it's such a great scene because just like no, if you didn't know Vader was in this movie, you know you've got this shit and you see like his and you but you see you know maybe you have the scene where you see the ships flying and it's like, oh, that's Vader's ship, and then you sort of have people sort of the anticipation of like, wait a second, you know, you build it up and then there's like you hear the you know the breathing through the mask and everything, and then the lightsaber turns on and like that's when you see Vader and it's like that would have been the best fucking thing. Like genuinely that would have been such
yeah.
a great moment. And look, the scene is phenomenal as is.
Yeah, I agree. That scene's so cool. The amount of times I've watched that scene and I've
Oh
heard the
yeah.
intro to Monster play the same like that. I shoot the lights. I'm like, so cool.
And another thing I do want to mention, they bring a person back to life with CGI.
Yeah, and it kind of kickstarts. That's not the only fucking time they do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
what is your, because I don't know if we've talked about this really, about resurrecting dead actors with CGI, because I feel like morally,
I could
I
not be
think
more
it's
anti.
it's very weird, it's very uncanny, and I think to a degree it's kind of morally wrong to do that.
It's not even just
Um,
that. Go pay a fucking actor. Like pay an
also,
and let them have their
honestly,
moment and
I
let them
reckon they
build their career.
yeah, and also look, I'm certain I look, Grand Moff Tarkin, very, very specific look, but like you can find I'm sure it is Disney. They could have found an actor who looked similar, you know, who looked like him,
Yeah,
and maybe
I
done
just
some touch ups, but like
but
it's a
it's
real actor with just some touch ups. But I
but
think it's
it's never been an issue. Like we got a different Dumbledore fucking 3 movies in to Harry Potter, and
exactly
no one like people comment on it, but you know it's just like, oh, he passed away. What are you gonna do? You have to
yeah.
recast. Wait, Iron Man, Don Cheadle just becomes fucking War Machine, and it didn't. It was just because the first actor was a bit of a cunt about it. Like it wasn't because he was like.
Yeah, I've had this. I've had this thought for. I mean, maybe we talked about this with Black Panther, but honestly, I think they could have just recast T'Challa, and it would have been
Yeah.
okay.
No, but
Especially because
yeah,
I also
yeah.
think in that case, Chadwick Boseman said Black Panther was sort of bigger than he was, and he would have wanted another actor to play the role. Like he didn't feel like he had
It was
ownership
more of a
over.
symbol. Yeah, it was more of a symbol of like. Mm,
Yeah, and I just think
um,
that it's so uncanny to look at because it doesn't look real, and it's like, I mean, there's also that bit at the end where you see a young Leia, which that's a bit different because Carrie Fisher at the time was still alive, so I can
but it's also
maybe
like if you're resurrecting dead actors and it's a young layer and you're like, for example, you know, the sort of the de aging. I think it's Book of Boba Fett with Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. That
oh,
just
that's
they
so, and in the end of the Mandalorian season 2 where they
yeah yeah
have
yeah
young,
yeah.
which again, it's fucking freaky looking. I'm gonna be honest. They could create a really fucking terrifying villain with that technology. Like, because it's essentially deep fake technology. And they could create a genuinely, like, some studio could create a genuinely really unnerving villain. Because
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's that
it's just
uncanny valley of where
unnerving.
it's just not quite human, but
Yeah, and
it's pretty
also the
close.
voice, because it's like a modulated voice, like it's not an actor's voice.
Yeah,
It's dialogue taken from another actor and you know
put through a
edited
filter. Like
and put through a filter and sort of blended together to make it sound like but it doesn't work. It just feels so weird to do.
yeah,
And
I think it's. I think yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not against de-aging actors. I think de-aging
Oh no, I'm
actors is
fine with
perfectly fine.
de-aging an actor. It's
But
completely fine.
I don't believe they de-aged Carrie Fisher for this. I believe they just got an actress and like put Carrie Fisher's face over
I believe
it.
it's her daughter. I believe it's Carrie Fisher's daughter.
That's less of a problem. If it's like the daughter of someone, like I'm okay with that. It just looks weird.
Later, I know for a fact it is later in the trilogy. But like of the newer trilogy, I know for a fact it actually is Carrie Fisher's daughter. But that's my only other argument. If you have absolutely no other way, you can't cast someone else. You can't hire an actor and actually give them an opportunity to show in a big film, allow them their career or add to their career or pay them or whatever. I understand if you must resurrect a dead actor, all proceeds must go to their immediate next of kin. The idea that you're able to have a character in a film that's completely and no one benefits from like that likeness except for a corporation is so like it makes it makes me feel sick.
Episode.
Oh, almost every other film now. But out of 10, do you have much more to speak on Rogue?
No, I like it. I definitely think it's better than Force Awakens. I give it a 7 as well, but it's a much like sturdier 7, and I think I see myself wanting to revisit this one more because it is its own thing. And
Yeah, you can watch it outside of having a
like I honestly think you could probably show this to people who haven't really seen Star Wars and they'd probably enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Like and to be honest, it might even work better because if they haven't like seen the original trilogy, they don't know these characters are all going to be dead by the end of this. You know, like they don't know. You know,
Yeah. It's also
I
a bit
will.
of an episode 3.5 if you want
Yeah,
to
yeah. Also, I actually did want to say one bit I did actually like was in the sort of final battle at the end of the film. We see these X-wing pilots, and they use like some archival footage of like like the actors who had been in the original Star Wars film. I actually thought that was a really nice touch.
Oh yeah.
Like using archival footage, I'm all for. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, no.
And because you're just using footage that has been shot with an actor. You're just using it
It's
in a
the
different
same as
context.
making any other film. It's just where it's from. Yeah.
But I would be interested at some point to watch this and then immediately go into A New Hope and see how it like flows together.
I've never done that either.
Because the way Rogue One ends, they're in the Tantive 4, whatever the ship they're in at the beginning of the film, and they're being chased. Like that's how the film ends. I'm like, that's actually I would like to see how they flow into each other like that. But yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's more than fair enough. I give it an 8. Yeah, and it's purely because I'm pro Star Wars world building. And this came out before things that contradict Star Wars world building. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt for what it is. I'm not allowed to say I'm not going to take points off this film because of later film. That's not fair. And even rewatching it, I just go, don't worry about like it's such a good individual story. Not without its faults. It's still a Star Wars movie, but like it's also still a Star Wars movie in the best way as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8 out of 10. I just think
really
it's a lot stronger than I think some people even give credit for.
Anyway, let's move on to the next film. The most divisive Star Wars film.
That's fair to say.
I feel like you and I might be about to disagree about this film. Because
we're about to argue, but like that's something that we haven't done for a really long time. So
I think I like this film a lot. I think there's a lot that I really enjoy about this film. There are also problems that I cannot defend. Like I will not defend the Canto Bight sequence. Like that is just objectively not great. Like I will not defend that.
The Carrie Fisher stuff at all? Like outside of obviously.
I honestly maybe it's just because I look. I think the way they filmed. Okay, because I assume you don't like this film at all, or you don't like it. In like,
It's got redeemable parts, but yeah, I fucking hate it. Yeah.
I think there are reasons to hate it, and there are reasons
Yeah.
that people say they hate it for, but are not valid reasons. I think that maybe the biggest problem that people seem to have with this film, certainly one of them, is how they write Luke as a character.
Mm. Mm.
And I am going to be like completely honest. I like what they do with Luke as a character here.
How come?
I think, to be honest, I think what people wanted this film to be and how they wanted to write Luke, they were never gonna do. I think people wanted Luke to come in and be the hero and save the day and be this amazing Jedi Master. And I just think, first of all, that's too simplistic. It's too
Well,
predictable.
yeah, Jedi
Predictability
Superman.
and predictability isn't inherently a bad thing when it's like the right choice. And I think there were a few ways they could have done this. And there is the bit that a lot of people take a real lot of concern, like issue with, where Luke has that moment where he considers killing Kylo Ren.
He doesn't really consider it. Like,
I
there's a
mean,
difference between thinking about killing someone and then putting a gun to their head. Like,
yeah, there is,
you know,
as he says in the film, it was sort of a fleeting moment, like a fleeting thought, and that he immediately regretted, which I'm happy to go with, but I know a lot of people think Luke should never do something like that and should like always should be infallible, which I think would have been bad as well, just because like what would the character arc then be for Luke in this film?
well,
Like,
see, look, there's a my I'm of the ilk of I genuinely hate what they do with Luke as a character in this film specifically.
mhm,
Well, no, it kind of like how this film then tarnishes Luke from the original trilogy. But that is a great question. Everyone who says that, what else? Like you're right. What else would Luke's character be? I'm not someone who thinks Luke should be Jedi Superman. I think that would suck and be really boring, pointless. And
yeah,
Luke was never the most powerful Jedi. He was just he was
no,
just always the most hopeful, and that was the whole
yeah,
point. The first Star was called A New Hope. Like hope is the point. The thing is, and the argument pro current Luke storyline argument is that he loses his hope or whatever. No, sorry, but that ruins Darth Vader. You can't because Luke and Darth Vader, like Luke and Darth Vader, are so. At least in my personal, I mean, and that's the thing is, what is now law is now law. So I think it should have been done differently. Well, it wasn't, so too bad. Like genuine, and I understand that. Um, I just don't think that Luke as a character would ever well with his like sort of deconstruction of Jediism. I think it's like he already knows all of the stuff that he's acting like he's found out. He knows that the Jedi is flawed. He knows that the Force is not something that is that is about truth or darkness or is about like black and white and it about balance and it is like he did. We went through this in the first. His father redeeming him because of his father's love. His father didn't want to kill something. He wanted to like Darth Vader wanted to save Luke. He didn't want to. You know what I mean? Like that's the
mhm,
argument that I've got. Whereas um and Luke would have always like he's the same because he redeems his father that way. So
mhm.
to then have a complete off screen that we're only shown like a memory of him just saying, "Yeah, well now I don't do that." And I'm sort of would have preferred him to be yes, I love the fact that he's a recluse and that he doesn't directly connect
Mhm.
with the Force, and I like that. But I would have preferred if it was like he still focused on teaching. He didn't just become fat, depressed Thor. Like, you know what I mean? Like he just becomes fucking angry, and I understand
Yeah.
that. It
Mhm.
would have been way better if he just goes, "Okay, I'm stepping. I no longer fight him. I'm not a. I'm not. He's not a knight. He's not a. He's not a young Jedi Knight anymore.
Mhm.
Basically Yoda, where he just moves to his own little recluse and practices the Force in his to the wider like that would have been completely fine with me. And then he still rejects saying, "Oh, I'm no longer a Jedi," and he still doesn't want to train Rey, sort of stuff. I'm a big fan because he can sense, the Palpatine. Spoilers. Like, it, I just think that it was such a messy. It was such a messy off-screen direction to take the character initially. I do his redemption at the end of the film, but like there didn't have to be. It could have still been a redemption. They could have still, like not liked Luke because he didn't want to help him. Like he could have always not wanted to help to be because of his attitude towards the Force, and it didn't have to be because he tried to kill Kylo kid and the rest of it. He could have just sensed evil in Kylo Ren and realized that he couldn't teach it out of him.
Mhm.
If anything, be almost cowardly. I would have loved to see that direction where his redemption, him stepping forward, even if he doesn't, he's sitting on it. But you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you
I
know,
yeah. I
sacrificing for something he loves. I would have loved that.
mhm. Yeah.
I
So
just,
you I mean, yeah. Because I know a lot of people don't like Luke dying and like
but
how they,
why?
end off the character. And I don't know. I think how Luke ends this film is kind of the best ending they could have done.
What? So you think his entire arc in this film is the best, or do you think the way that his story ends at the end of the film is the best ending they could have done?
I think the way they end the arc. Look, I don't hate the arc. I think there's a lot to do. There's a lot of really stuff I like about the arc. I like the idea of Luke having become disillusioned with the Force and with being a Jedi and everything. I think that's really great. I like this idea that he is this hero figure and he just sort of he rejects that. He rejects the label almost. I think that's a really interesting story and I really like that. And I think for the most part how they write Luke and how they use him here, I'm all on board with. I definitely think there are other avenues that would have also worked very well, but I'm happy with generally with how Luke is here. And I think his final, sort of moment where he is there distracting Kylo to let the others escape is that is a true Jedi. Like that is what a Jedi would do. And I think he is a true it like in that moment essentially sacrificing himself and being there, you know, distracting, Kylo and everything. I think is
But
it fit, because he had because for me in that moment he has become a Jedi again. Um, and I think the final moment where he's sitting on that rock and he's looking out at the two suns, I think is a very nice way to end the character. I think that it's really great in terms of how it's done. I feel like I'm sensing you're about to say you don't like any of the things I'm saying, and you don't like any of the choices that were made with the film.
no, not exclusively. I love that shot of the two suns because that's what it's that triumphant music when we were first like, oh, that's Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's out stoically looking at those two suns for that to be him like fading. I reckon was beautiful. That's great writing. That's what of course. Like you don't end it any other way, at least
yeah,
in my head canon. Well, again, you also don't end it because in Star Wars, if you're a good enough Jedi, you're immortal, and you know what I
yeah,
mean. Like so it's
yeah.
fine, really. Especially in the next film, he's in it, but
Yeah.
Like there's a I I I just I really hate the idea that he would stand over Kylo Ren, and that's all we're shown. Stand over Kylo Ren with the lightsaber at that point of killing him, regardless of a moment of weakness. I think it would have been way better to have it him be less about like whether or not he questions his own ability in like the Force and the Jet and questioning the Jet, but like more about how could Kylo Ren be evil in the environment that we have given him? Like, how could Kylo Ren become? Why is he obsessed with Vader, the Vader of Anakin, and not the young Jedi Padawan of Anakin? And
Mhm.
Luke questioning that and rejecting that, and then becoming a recluse and like practicing and studying and trying to become a better knight, but doesn't, and all that. So, like, I would have loved that, and we don't have to see that. We can just be told that through context, like through subtext. But um, like where we're shown like I'm sorry, but it's not like when you watch the original trilogy, especially now after watching these Disney ones, you find yourself go like, oh, the happy ending he has is like in that, and obviously not everything has a happy. Well, it shouldn't, but like that, and I still think he ends overall as a good character. My the thing that I disagree with on a fault is the dynamic between him and Ben, and him and Kylo Ren. I just think is so like I just, I don't know. I even like that hero thing because he just simply doesn't understand it anymore, rather than him being like spiteful about his mistakes and his actions, and that's not that and that's not the character Luke ever was and now it is, and sure, but I don't like that now it is. I don't like
Mhm.
that decision. I find that I think honestly, just reshoot a few of those scenes and make this film a lot better for me. There
Mhm.
is also, this like outside of that Luke main thing, a lot of my criticisms have to come with this film is significantly worse when it comes to continuity of like what the first film's trying to set up. Um, and
Okay, I assumed we would get to this. So, am I right in assuming you don't like the reveal about Ray's parents?
no, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I,
Okay,
I,
good.
I like,
Because that I was gonna say I am a big fan of that as a choice. I think Ray just being nobody, I actually think is okay. I think because there were so
I,
many theories around her character.
my argument, yeah, I know a lot of people, but Obi-Wan kid, or is it this? I would
Yeah.
I would prefer, I would genuinely prefer if it was she was a nobody because that's world building. But no,
Yes.
but no, but
Yeah. And
I'm getting
again,
like
it's
genuinely
not the
mad.
fault of this film. It's the fault of the sequel. But I think
Yeah,
Rey being a nobody is a really great choice because, look, if she was just connected to some character we know, it makes the entire universe so much smaller. Which is like we talked about this with like 3PO
absolutely.
being built by Anakin, and being Chewbacca knowing Yoda and shit. Like all these things just make the universe smaller. So Rey just being nobody, I think, is great choice because it plays into the themes of the film. This is a film about how greatness can sort of come from nowhere and how anybody can stand up. Like to I think that it plays into the subtext of the film, and so Ray being nobody, I think, is a very good choice. And I think people who complain about it are kind of silly. Honestly, I think it's fine that she is
I
just
also agree. I think
nobody. Yeah.
I think this idea that you need your characters to be constantly intertwined is like, I'm like, it's obviously they exist in the same world, so like they'll bump together and there'll be crossover in here and there. But if it's just about bloodlines the whole time, then like what the fuck's the point in showing anything else? Like
Hmm.
Why would you show Rogue One? Why would you have these other like stories? Why would you have Clone Wars and Ashoka? If it's only ever going to be about like one family or two families or three families, and I think you would then undercut and I'm gonna like I'm gonna say something different. But yeah, I really like you would great parts of Star Wars again, like Rogue One and like a lot of the larger world building we get, pretty much all of the world building we get. My biggest problems with these films wasn't just like I agree with you. Like we're agreeing a lot more than I thought we would. My biggest issues is just it fucking drags and it doesn't really progress the plot
I
forward a whole lot. And Kylo Ren as a character doesn't really get built upon. And the Leia stuff, I think, just
okay.
like I
I
think is hard to deal
think
with.
if I believe we're going to be on the same page in terms of the Canto Bite stuff in the casino.
What the point? What's the point?
No point in it. I mean, one of the recurring themes of the film is like failure,
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't care about the Canto Bite stuff. I think Rose is not a very good character, and I feel bad
yeah.
saying this because the actress has gone through so much racist and sexist harassment and abuse, and I do not feel good about this. But like, she is not a particularly well written character. And again, all of the problems with the characters is not on any of these actors. These are all good actors who have just have been badly written. I think that Finn is a bit shortchanged as a character. I really wish Finn got a bit more to do because it really doesn't feel like he actually has a whole lot to do, or like because he was a one half essentially of the previous film of the Force Awakens, and he's feels a bit sidelined.
Well, can I? Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. He incredibly solid and a really strong part. And something else I want to bring up because I agree with you. But contradicts my point about Ray being a nobody. At this point, before we're given any larger reveal, I hate Smoke.
I
Or Smock as a character. Smock as a character. I
Snoke,
just think
yes.
Snoke. Sorry, Snoke. Smoke. Fucking.
I will concede I don't particularly care for Snoke either. I didn't care for him in the Force Awakens. Because he is in Force Awakens, but he's not really much of anything. I
Yeah.
honestly I didn't care that he got killed off. I
No,
really
because
didn't care.
I couldn't
I
care at
I
all. I
thought
actually think it gave us one of the better sequences in the trilogy, which is
the
that
fight
all
sequence with
the.
the
I just think it looks really cool. Like, and obviously it's a
I know people have sort of complained about that scene because of the choreography and everything, but I'm like choreography
yeah,
in most of these Star Wars films is super fucking contrived.
yeah. You
Like,
cannot hold it to the standard. Prequels choreography was largely just due to that two actors just giving it their fucking all and training all the time. So it's
yeah,
like they really wanted it to be good. Like that is a standalone thing, the choreography in the prequels. And yeah, it's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan. Like I genuinely think it hasn't been done better, but
yeah,
it's still better than some of the lightsaber battles we get in like even in the original trilogy.
yeah. And I'm gonna like there are moments where in some of the prequel fights where there are just pointless moments. Like it was a moment I mentioned in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting, and they're both just swinging their lightsabers around like their bodies, and they're not even doing anything. Like that is stupid. Like there is no purpose to that in like a fight. And I don't also really care because I think I just really like how the fight is crafted here. I think like I think Kylo is I think he's a very good character that in like just wasn't used well enough. And I think that for me, I think him and Ray as two characters, I think they actually work really well together. Like how they
Yeah.
like work off each other, him trying to bring her over to the dark side, she's trying to bring him to the light side. I think that's really great. I really like
I
that
think up
as
I
a
think up to this point, yes. I think before it becomes like all of the romantic subtext I can't fucking stand. But
I'm
like,
not gonna, yeah, and
we'll
I
get
mean,
into it. But
especially
yeah,
considering there were rumors. I don't know if this was always going to be the plan or if this was purely just rumors that Rey was going to be Han and Leia's kid as well, which I frankly would have been really bad. Let's just be honest, that would not have been good.
well, brother
Um,
and sister. Oh
well,
yeah,
yeah,
but
but
also
I mean, it's not like Star Wars has had an issue with doing incest before. Like, let's just be honest, they've done it before.
yeah.
Um, okay,
Well, not to
one bit.
they never really went all the way. They got the
No,
first base.
yeah. Okay,
they,
one bit I do want to get your opinion on the hyperspeed sequence.
where she cuts through the ships.
Yeah,
Well, when I say that these films are the most beautiful, that is one of the like coolest things I've seen. Why hadn't
yeah,
we ever seen it before? Maybe she just got lucky, one in a million. Maybe she didn't. I don't like that. Like it is a. But the thing is like anytime they try to bring in something brand new, there's a criticism of why we haven't ever seen it before. And so maybe no one just thought of doing that. You know,
yeah,
like in
and
the
also
universe.
it's
But it's also
like
like
they do establish in Star Wars that like going to hyperspeed is quite dangerous. Like it's a very specific thing to
yeah. So and
do.
I like the sacrifice, and I like
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
really don't
Yeah,
mind it. I just hate the whole fucking chase scene. Like up until the point of the like the slow, and it's a 2.5 hour movie. We don't need it.
yeah.
Like we
It is.
just
It
it
is. It is
doesn't
quite.
give
I
it
mean,
doesn't add anything. It just
honestly,
drags runtime.
yeah, I honest to God think you can cut the entire Canto Bight sequence, and you just have Ray and not Ray and Finn and Rose just stay on that chip, and the film does not change at all. Like
Yeah,
genuinely,
and
it
it
does not change at all. You cut
yeah,
the
but it's
entire Canto
still
Bight
long,
sequence.
and it's still like
Yeah,
and this is where I talk about my issues with the. I've been overwhelmingly positive so far. Besides,
yeah.
like
I was
obviously
expecting a bit more hate, but
it's not
yeah.
I don't have my hate isn't so much about like what it does to Star Wars. My hate is that
Yeah,
it
I was
doesn't
gonna ask, do
fit.
you think this ruined Star Wars, which a lot of people have said that it ruined
Mm,
Star Wars for them, and you know,
I think it fucks with Luke, and it in my it,
yeah,
like in that I think it kind of does. Like I spoke on that, but to just speak on the rest of the film, and like I think it takes it's so slow, and it feels it like it feels like 2.5 hours when I watch it, and
okay,
it's not even just that like because again you got things like the fucking Canto sequence and
yeah,
that
I
slow
can't
chase,
really, yeah, I'm not gonna justify. I like this
but
film a decent amount, and I can't justify it because it is
but
completely
tone
pointless. And to be honest, every Star Wars film is like this, but this is a really extended sequence of Star Wars.
But
Like,
tonally, I think it struggles as well, like the entire
yeah,
film.
I will say the humor.
Mm,
I'm a bit like I really am unsure. Like, there's that bit where Ray she started doing the training, and then Luke is like, "Oh, do you feel the Force?" And he's like tickling her
well,
hand with like a leaf or something. I'm not huge on that. I will be honest, and I think the worst bit of comedy is towards the front, where Poe is like talking to the First Order.
general, yeah.
I'm
Well,
not a. I don't
actually,
like that. I think that's
I
pretty.
yeah, I agree too.
I see the point of it. It's he's just killing time, but it just feels so out of place tonally, and it doesn't.
well,
It
so, like
it's not
I just
funny.
feel I feel like in the grand scope of the trilogy as well, this is the most, and obviously it's got a different director, and I love Ryan Johnson,
Yeah,
but like
I was gonna at some point
but
mention
I
this is Ryan Johnson, who I mean we
mm,
both I think are very big fans of Ryan Johnson
yeah,
as a filmmaker.
Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out, and Glass Onion.
Yeah, we did a whole
Sure.
Knives Out episode looking at the film, so please go listen to that because we were very
Yeah.
complimentary. And I think Looper's a really great film. Um,
Mhm.
I like Brick. Like I think Ryan Johnson is a very talented filmmaker.
Yeah.
I think for me the thing with this is I kind of feel like he kind of disregards a lot of what J.J. Abrams did with The Force Awakens.
And then J.J. Abrams redoes it, and then it makes the jaded
Yeah.
and unconnected, and like
Mm.
they're all obviously connected. They're both, but it doesn't
Yeah.
make a whole lot of sense with this
Mhm.
film being part either kind of
Yeah. I think because Ryan Johnson, he did have his own trilogy of films that were put in product that he was going to do. I don't know if he is still planning to do them anymore. Um, I think that the problem with Ryan Johnson in this is, first of all, they kind of just let him do what he wanted. And I think if not JJ, if Ryan Johnson was allowed to build a Star Wars film from the ground up, it would be great.
yeah.
Um, and I think him coming in and disregard, and to be honest, I don't even know if he necessarily disregards all of the because he answers who Rey's parents are, because that's one of the things that was setting up. So it's not even that he disregards it per se. It's I feel like part of it to a degree is like, I mean, we don't really know who Snoke is. That is one of the big sort of mystery boxes we have. But I'm just gonna be honest. Does anybody give a fuck about Snoke? Like, let's just be honest. Did anybody actually care that much about it?
No, he was a generic emperor, but that's the thing. This is where I contradict myself, and we'll get into the next one quickly in a sec.
Yeah.
But like that's where I contradict myself, where I say like I hate the fact that he's new, but I love the idea of Rey being new. But like I
Mm.
also, because I'm like, well then explain, because Rey's new, but Rey's like new and relatively like she doesn't hold any command, whereas like he's the
Mhm.
fucking emperor. So it's like, what do we
Yeah.
where has he been ever? And also not the point. But I wanted to ask you before we move on.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the sort of the conflict between Poe and the rest of the rebellion and his sort of arc in the film? Because it's one that I think positively of. I think they handle it quite well.
I don't hate it as much as a lot of other people seem to hate it. I think conceptually I like it, and I think it does do enough to do a bit more with Poe's character, because I don't feel like Poe is given a whole lot of character stuff in Force Awakens. I feel like this film does
Yeah,
develop him a bit more as a character, which I'm for. I think is a very
as
good
a leader
choice
as well.
as a leader, and he's sort of this fly boy, very brash, he sort of goes in without think. I mean, he's essentially Han Solo to a degree. He
Yeah,
sort of shoots first, asks questions later. Um, but I think that I don't hate it. I don't hate Laura Dern as Holdo, which I know a lot of people don't like. I think there is sort of a question of like, why doesn't she just tell Poe the plan?
yeah.
If there was, maybe I missed this in the film, but if there was a moment where it's like, oh, she didn't want to tell anyone because she thought there was a spy in the ship or anything, like I was like, oh no, is that not a thing in the movie that they think there's a
No,
spy
that's
on board,
the
or
no,
is that the
absolutely no. That's the whole point and why she doesn't. Is it because she
yeah?
thinks there's a spy on board?
Well, then in that case, I'm not actually. I don't. Yeah, no, that's fine then.
I don't.
Because
That's why I think positively of it. That's why I think
yeah,
like yeah, it
it's
works
I
well
don't.
as a
Yeah,
narrative device.
yeah. I think it's all right. I think it like look. This film is very messy. I'm not a fan of Leia Mary Poppins ing her
Yeah.
way back into the ship. I honestly thought, and I kind of would have been okay with it if she had died at that moment.
Well, yeah, me too. And
I
the
think
and because
look,
I
and I
hate them what they do with the rest of,
oh,
but it's
we will
also
talk about that.
it's also like the only display of force power that we've ever really seen from her is like force phone calls, basically, where she can like talk and
Yeah.
communicate. And I'm like, I would have loved if like that's what she was. She was always a communicator. She was always a leader. She always was like someone
Mm.
like the connector and so like of course she's not going to just fucking will her way back into a ship. What do we talk like? Obviously, yeah, no, she's a Skywalker, but she's also like for whatever reason, one way or another, rejected Luke's training and decided to keep her force ability where it was. and that's completely fine.
Yeah,
Except for
yeah,
for for a weird way to save her, she doesn't.
yeah. I think also it would have been the correct look. Maybe there was part of them that thought maybe we can't do this because Carrie Fisher has now passed, but it makes sense narratively. And look, it my I sort of figured they looking back on it retrospectively, my mind sort of like because each of the sequel films is about a different character. You know, Force Awakens is about Han, Last Jedi is about Luke, and Rise of Skywalker presumably was going to be about Leia. Um, but
Yeah,
once Carrie Fisher passed and they could no longer do that, I kind of feel like they should have just killed Leia off then, because
yeah,
you
I
can't
also
bring
agree,
her back. Because look,
and
if
it's
if
because
Carrie
it's
Fisher
my
was
biggest
still
criticism of the
alive and
third
hadn't
one.
passed before the film came out, that's fine. And you want to do the film about Leia, that's I completely get that. But at that point, like I just feel like they sort of had to be like, okay, we need to change this because we can't bring Leia back. And I think it would have been okay to do that. I think people would have understood. I am certain Carrie Fisher's family would have understood that and approved, if would have been okay with it and approved that. And, because
Well,
at the end of the
again,
day,
her daughter plays because there are parts in this film that I believe
yeah,
do actually use CGI Carrie Fisher,
yeah,
but it is based off the model of her, which I think is also something good that has come out of a bad fucking thing. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Well, you're doing something that I inherently agree with, but you're doing it the best way I think you could do it, even though I still
yeah,
disagree.
yeah. Um, I think the biggest part of this one that really drags it down is the stuff with Finn and Rose, and going to Canto Bight and then they break into the
Yeah,
ship. Like I'm not a fan of that. I know like Snoke, I do not care that he gets killed off because who cares?
I don't think
Like let's
anyone
just
cared. It wasn't
like
even that
so
big a
that's
moment
yeah,
in the
and I
film.
and people were like, "Oh, well, we don't know anything about him." And it's like, "Yeah, but also we didn't know shit about Palpatine in Return of the Jedi." Like, come on. We
Yeah,
only
but
know
that's
stuff
not.
about
Yeah, Palpatine
Palpatine
because of the
now
prequels.
because of the exactly, and they could have done something with Snoke in Rise of Skywalker or some other way, and they haven't because the reception wasn't. Well, yeah,
Well, I mean, they
look,
do technically, but
they do, but it's a very unsatisfying arse pull.
okay.
Um,
So we're gonna.
I mean, do we want it? I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's
I
time
think
to
we
move because
need
we've
to.
alluded to this film. Look,
Also,
I
do you
give
want to just
Lost.
quickly yeah rating?
Yeah, I'll just put a rating on this. Last Jedi. I feel like you're gonna give me some shit for this. I give it an 8. It
That's just that's high.
it is
Dude, every
admittedly
every episode we do, we criticize any film for being over 2 hours, regardless of how much we. And it's 2.5 hours, and you didn't say shit. You
I
didn't say that.
look
You didn't
look.
say a
I
word.
think this could be definitely cut to under 2 hours.
Oh
Like
well, no,
cut
you did actually
like
the Canto
yeah,
sequences. Yeah.
completely cut the Canto Bite sequence, and this one would be so much better. And look, I'm being generous because there is a lot of wonky writing with this film. I'm going to be honest. It is very wonky, and it's also again, it's hard to enjoy knowing how this trilogy ends. It really is. I cannot state how generous I'm being. I think there's just enough in it that I connect with and that sort of interests me. I think this is maybe the best looking Star Wars film. I mean, there's the hyperdrive sequence, obviously, but there's the salt planet they're on at the end. That's all white, and then when they go across it, it's red. That is great. Um, there's such a great shot where you see an iron coming down, and you think it's a ship, and then it cuts out, and and they're just ironing like a suit or something. Like I think that's
Yeah.
genuinely brilliant, brilliant filmmaking, and I think this is the most interesting Star Wars film. It just in terms of what it's saying, what it's about. Whether it all works is a completely different
Yeah, to
conversation,
be fair, it's an
and I get
incredibly
that.
bold. Like it does
Yeah,
the most.
and
Oh no! Revenge does the most, but this does a lot.
this is the most
But
interesting of the Disney Star Wars films. Like,
oh
I
yeah,
think we can both agree on that.
wholeheartedly, yeah,
And I would much rather see a filmmaker go for something big and try for something new than they just stick to being safe. Because that's kind of the problem with
yeah.
some of these other films. But yeah, I give it an
Uh,
8. It really is on the border between it's like a strong 7 to a light 8, if I was to use
yeah,
the Fantana rating system. And I completely get why people don't like it to a degree. Beyond the
yeah.
whole,
Look,
oh, it ruined my childhood. There's women in it. There's minorities. Like those people, I don't give a fuck. But like, if like, there is a lot of writing that I am excusing here, just because the
yeah.
stuff I like, I really like. So, but
Um.
I imagine you're going to give a much harsher rating than I am. But I get
Well, no,
like
no.
I get a lot of your points. I don't think
Mm,
you're. It just depends. Like, I think the Luke stuff is the biggest stumbling block for a lot of people, and I think it really depends if you like the choice or not. And I think I can see why people don't like it to a degree. Like, I get this. I think some of the points you're making are fair, and I do think maybe we should have gotten maybe a bit more of Luke before we see him. See maybe a couple more flashbacks with Luke. I would have been totally cool with that.
well,
Um,
yeah. For such a long fucking film, you'd
yeah,
think
like
like at
take out the
least
Canto Bite sequence and put in some more flashbacks.
if this
Like,
film is about Luke, it really should be about Luke. And I like as the last Jedi in quotations.
mm,
But and I hate that notion. There's Jedi, that sort of stuff. But I reckon
yeah,
I'm going to be a lot fairer on this film. And I have been. But yeah, I hate. But like, yeah, to be honest, and for me personally, um, I give it 6 out of 10. Very soft, which I think I'm being nice about because
that is a bit higher than I expected. Honestly, I did expect
well,
you to
no, that's
maybe
that's
go.
that's because the next one is a lot lower than
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
as divisive as I believe this film is, and as problematic, and as much as like I give it points for not only being beautiful, not only being stunning, not only having shit, but also great sequences. There's a lot to also love, and I think it just gets overshadowed by hate, and also
yeah,
dumb idiots who don't have the wherewithal to be like, actually, this wasn't explained. Well, let's fucking figure it out, man.
yeah.
Like it's there to be
And
seen.
yeah, and I will say I find the whole like, oh, that's not possible that she could fly through the ships with the hyperspeed. It's like, you're arguing about the logic of made up sci-fi.
Yeah, I just think that
Like, yeah,
there was one criticism of Kylo Ren, and it's that he's always throwing a big baby. He's always. I'm like, that's what makes him great. Is because he's not Darth Vader. He's not supposed
yeah,
to be Vader. He's supposed to be a shitty imitation. That's what he's supposed to be because he would never
yeah,
live up to being as evil as Anakin fucking truly was because he had a good upbringing, like
yeah,
relatively until his uncle tried to kill him.
yeah.
But that was
And
but
he's a petulant child, which I think is good, because that can be quite
he's an
intimidating, because he
incredibly
can.
powerful petulant child as well. He's
Yeah,
Homelander
exactly.
at this
and
point.
and
Like
that's and that's kind of why he can be intimidating, because it's like at any moment he can just lash out at you and just.
it's like saying Homeland is a bad character.
Mm,
That criticism specifically frustrates me so much.
yeah.
But yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I thought, and just because chronological releases, I think it's actually so low.
So
The only thing I have to say about the movie is it exists and it's fun, but it doesn't need to and it shouldn't.
no, I will say, first of all, again, fan service, terrible. Okay,
But
first of all, I do not like how Han gets his name. I don't like
yeah,
that at all. I do not like that we see the Kessel Run. That was so
yeah,
pointless. And quite possibly the worst bit, Darth Maul turns up.
yeah. What's that about? Like,
That is, I think we did talk about this because we talked about Chris Miller and Phil Lord, their films.
yeah.
Because they had started directing this, they shot most of this, and then they shot the whole thing.
Nah, but then we got
Um,
the good man that is.
I think Ron Howard's a very capable, very
I think
competent director, but
capable filmmaker. Yeah.
but he's not an interesting director. He's a very like there's not like he's very bland as like a director. Um, and I
Oh,
think
he's wheat bakes. He's wheat bakes without sugar or banana or anything.
and it's just so unfortunate that we lost out on a Chris Miller, Phil Lord Star Wars film, because that would have been this could have been maybe the best Disney Star Wars film if they had stayed on board. They hadn't been fired, because they just would have given it so much more personality, and they would have fit. That's the thing too, is they fit with Han Solo. They're very quippy writers, and that is what Han Solo is as a character. Like, they are writers. They throw quips in there. They have lots of comedy, and that would have worked for this kind of movie.
I think now, the film,
as it is, it's just very bland.
Yeah, well, actually, if you wanted to, do you have much more to say on it? Do you want to give your rating and then?
I just want to say again, I think it's a very quite ugly looking movie at places. I don't know why.
Right, it's fucking brown half the time.
It's really brown. It's very dark in a lot of shots, and I don't know why. I think Alden Ehrenreich, I've seen him in other things. He's not a bad actor. It's just he doesn't quite feel like Han Solo, which is the problem. Is who can be a young Harrison Ford and actually work? You know, like. But that's fine. I think Paul Bettany is a really fun villain. But I think it's a very pointless film. I didn't really need a Han Solo prequel, like explaining who he was. And as I mentioned, the fan service is terrible. Like, Darth Maul turning up is one of the worst things Disney has done with any of these films. It doesn't make any sense. It's gone nowhere because they've not done a sequel, and they never will do a sequel to this film because it was such a massive like box office failure. And I just don't. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to rewatch this, mainly because I just didn't have the time to. But also, I really did not care to try and watch this again. So I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I think that some of the performances are fun. I think that, it is a fun movie. It just doesn't need to exist. I think that the fact that it exists is kind of stupid. I kind of hate everything they explore. I never wanted a solo prequel. I think I reject the notion. As much as it has its fun moments, I'm just like, he's such a perfect introduction to where we meet him in A New Hope that I just think it's point. And I'm glad we didn't see anything about him in the prequels either. It's like, that's where his story starts for us, not this weird little prequel cash grab that feels a bit like. But again, I like some of the sequences. If this was like kind of a spin-off in a different universe sort of thing, or maybe, I don't know, maybe an animated TV series or something, that would be kind of fun. But as the film itself, I genuinely don't like it. Again, as fun as it is as a watch, it's another 2 hour and 2.5 hour fucking Disney slop Star Wars.
This should have been, for this kind of film, this should have been under 2 hours. There's no way that, like, between 100 minutes and 2 hours is how long this film should have been. It should not be.
And we're criticizing this while this episode be well over 2 hours. But I mean, we're talking about fucking like 6 things. But yeah,
also the thing with this is, like, you can just pause this, or you can fast forward if we're talking about a film you're not interested in. You know?
Oh man, it's a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah. Sorry, what rating did you put on that one?
4.
Oh, just that's a bit
because I don't. But it doesn't do anything well. But it doesn't do any like it doesn't do anything super well. It's not nearly as pretty. It's not nearly as a cohesive, nice story as Rogue One, and it's just about like a weird little pre-layer sub-romantic plot for Han Solo, and he doesn't really like. It's just him being the bounty hunter we heard about, but no one asked. No one like. I just think it's unnecessary.
But we move on to the final film we're going to discuss. The Rise of Skywalker. I think I don't know if you'll agree with me. I think you probably will. This is the worst Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah, without it's not even close.
And I
It
genuinely think that there will never be a Star Wars film this bad. Like, I
making
genuinely think they
I
would have to
you,
try to make a film this bad again.
yeah, you'd almost have to make like a big bad and tie him directly into like fucking Mace Windu or something. Like I truly think that it's like, but I truly think that it because as much as I like if there was a mid if this was it's hard for me to explain kind of where my brain is at right now. But if J.J. Abrams wanted this film, like if this was his ideal third film, I'd love to see what his ideal second film. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
this does again feel like in the same lineage to the Last Jedi, no, to the Rise of Skywalker or whatever. But
Yeah.
no, the Force Awakens. Sorry, the Force Awakens. But
Yeah.
I think I the whole from you get Star Wars and then Palpatine has somehow come back. When I first read that, I was like, "Fuck off!" I was so over it. I was like, "Oh
if
no!"
the first line of the opening crawl is "The dead speak,"
Yeah,
and this is one of the most. First of all, I was looking at how much this film cost. It cost them nearly $600 million to make,
which is crazy, which is just
and
insane. Because Spider-Man
and
3 was,
yeah,
I'm kidding.
and
But
it made just over $1 billion. So it's very possible this film did not make a profit, which is
well,
insane for
yeah,
a movie that makes $1 billion. That this film isn't profitable. Like that
it's
is
not even 2 to 1.
insane.
That's not even 2 to 1. Like, I
No,
wouldn't put a $5. I wouldn't put $5 on something that's gonna. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
wouldn't put.
I think it takes everything good and everything interesting from the previous film, and it's just like, well, what if instead Rey was related to Palpatine? Eh? This is the most reactionary Star Wars film, and one of the most reactionary films I've ever seen in my life. It's basically taking everything people didn't like about the previous film and undoing it. It's like, oh, Snoke was actually a clone, right?
Yeah, which I
Which,
can't stand because as much as I don't like the things about the previous films, you're not all like trying to undo it just makes this film so much
yeah,
worse. Because what's done is done, you live with it. That's the
yeah,
law now. Too bad.
yeah. They
Grow up.
honestly, I think J.J. Abrams is a hack. I really don't think he's a good filmmaker. I think he's really,
I
I
think
do.
he's a huge I think he's a huge Star Wars fan.
He is a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, that's what he basically said when he did the Star Trek films he did. He's like, well, I'm never going to be able to do Star Wars. So he made a Star Wars film in Star Trek, which, people can. Is
Mm.
debatable whether that was a good choice or not. Um, I just don't think he's a particularly talented filmmaker. I think he loves to set up ideas and come up and just sort of leave like have people come up with theories and it just Ray being nobody, like as we were saying before, is a genuinely really great twist. It's really great. I think it was the right choice to make, like because there was so many theories about who Ray's parents were or who her, and I think genuinely Ray being nobody was a great choice. And then J.J. Abrams completely undoes that, completely ruins Ray as a character. I'm gonna be honest, J.J. Abrams ruins Ray's character in this film. Like with that
Oh
single
yeah.
reveal, her character's completely ruined.
And not
Palpatine
not
being
also
back, sorry,
yeah. But
is
not yeah, yeah. I agree. Sorry. I'm just like I'm emoting how much I agree.
like Palpatine being back is objectively terrible.
Yeah, I hate it. I really hate it.
I
Like, yes, he was the most powerful at the time, so it would make like you can justify it however you, but fuck, move on.
Yeah,
Like,
and I mean there
new
is
story, new people, new everything.
the infamous somehow Palpatine returned. quite possibly the worst line of dialogue ever written.
Yeah, it's up there.
Like, and I was talking to some people who were
Definitely
trying
in a
to.
Star Wars movie.
It's probably the worst bit of Star Wars writing, and that is saying something for Star Wars dialogue. You know, like this is the set. You know, I don't like sand. Like that is this is the franchise we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Um, and
If
it's so I fucking hate. First of all, it's such a badly written line. The somehow, because death doesn't mean shit. Death does not mean a fucking thing in this franchise. If you can bring back Palpatine, you can bring back everyone. We see fucking Han, not as a force. He's not even a force user, and we see Han again,
No, but isn't
which
that
I
just
just
a mental? But no, but that I so that's something
yeah.
that
Look,
this is a part that I disagree with you.
okay.
I
I
think
I
I think the best part of the film is all of that.
look. I in a vacuum, I like the scene, and I don't. I just sort of am like, I don't know, because it feels like in that moment that's meant to be Leia. Like
Kind of. I understand. I understand what you. I think the way that I break it down in for me, because if you feel like it's meant to be Leia, then you feel like it's meant to be Leia. I personally, as much as I wish they like finished the characters Leia's arc in the previous film, I think that especially because they also like do the same with Luke, so it'd be cool to have that, and we get some Luke Force Ghost fuckery that happens. But let's not get into that because if I was to talk about everything I don't like about this movie, this episode would go until tomorrow.
yeah, we'd be here
But
even.
like,
We've already been here for so long, and we'd be here,
but
and we
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
yeah.
So
We have to draw
you
a line at some point.
everyone knows the go online, everyone knows, and I agree largely, except for the fact that I think the best part about this film, and the only thing that relatively even closely redeems it, is Ben's character arc, is Kylo Ren. Is
Yeah.
Kylo Ren's character arc. I think the idea that we get a shot for shot of his father touching his face, and the difference
Mm.
between Kylo Ren dying physically and Ben being a character and him becoming good and his
Yeah.
switch. I love that because we never got that with Vader. We got one moment of it with Vader and then he fucking dies. I'm like, and it's
Mhm.
because he was never Vader, and that's the point. He's like, he was never Vader. He was never
Yeah.
like truly. He just wanted it
Yeah.
to that. He like whereas and that's what I love. And I love that we get the last use, and I love the last use of Leia's powers to be able to like talk through the Force, and that
Mhm.
being the emotional trigger for him. And then he not only is redeemed by his father. That's why I believe that it wasn't a trap to Han and that he knew what he was doing, is because of
Mhm.
this sequence. This sequence
Mhm.
made me rethink the Han's death in the first film. It recontextualizes it.
Mm.
Um, it's just unfortunate that we couldn't have found a better workaround with Leia, because I like this ending, but I
Uh.
wish Leia had herself had a better ending.
Yeah.
Like, is it?
Yeah. I look, and their hands were tied. Like Carrie
Yeah,
Fisher passing did kind of make it really difficult for them. And I just think the
yeah.
problem,
It's
and
not
they said
bad,
they were
right?
not going to bring Leia back with CGI, which is good. I don't think that would have been good at all. That would have been really weird, really terrible. But it's equally as weird the way they do it, because it's like, oh, there's clearly like extra footage that they had shot for the other movies, and it just feels sort of almost like NPC dialogue almost. It's very generic dialogue, and it really doesn't feel well, because I know it's not real. I know this isn't like, I it just it feels so it's just so weird to try and watch, if I'm being like completely honest. I really think
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of it. I think Ah, another and like seriously, if I went on it and everything I hated about this film, I'd be here for again way too long. I don't know
yeah,
what they were trying to do with Finn trying to tell Ray, and the implication that he's got force powers. Because like this is the end of this fucking trilogy. It's the end of this fucking saga. Why are we doing this now? There is no follow up to that. So much of this film just felt like, why are you doing any of this? Because this is
Yeah.
the end of this series, and these actors, they're not going to come back. Like, I'm sure you've seen all the clips of these actors.
There's been a
fucking
fallout.
done.
Yeah.
And I do not blame them. I do not blame John Boyega for being bitter, because in the marketing, Finn for Force Awakens, Finn to me seemed like he was the main character. Like he was
Yeah.
he was the one on the poster with the lightsaber, and I was like, oh sweet, he's gonna be our main character.
We're gonna
for
get a
this trilogy.
Jedi that was a stormtrooper. I think is
Yeah.
such a cool idea.
I think conceptually it's great. I was like, and you know, there's that scene in the trailer where he's dueling Kylo in the forest. You know, we don't see anything of Rey with the saber. I'm like, that's great. I think that's a great choice. I'm all on board with that. And then he is kind of a real, like, they don't do a whole lot with him in this film, and I think it's really unfortunate.
Didn't do a whole lot with him in any of the films, to be honest.
No, and you know, Oscar Isaac. And then there's an interview where he said, I should have just let them kill him in Force Awakens. Because, you know, he was supposed to die in Force Awakens. And, like, every actor, every interview you see with all of these actors, they're all just like, yeah, they just seem like they don't like it. They're just like, oh, well, it's certainly something. Because it's such a weak ending for the apparent. Like, this is the ending. As far as they, you know, I mean, it's very likely that they will undo this. They said this is the end of the Skywalker saga. And it's like, this is the ending to that story.
Oh, like, the Palpatine saga as well, technically.
Technically, yeah. And I'm just
He's in it just as much as...
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really... I don't know. Rey
I don't
saying,
like it as an ending to the saga.
Rey saying I'm Rey Skywalker, I'm like, I just don't know.
It's so weird because the whole time it's about choosing who you are, and the weird kiss romance thing as well. Can't stand, disgusting. Shouldn't have been part of it. But
I don't like it at all. I think, yeah, I don't know, and I know Daisy Ridley is coming back as Rey for a new Star Wars film.
I don't mind. I actually like her character. If
I
like the whole
like,
oh, I'm Rey Skywalker. I the whole point is about finding out who you are, and then you're choosing to be someone else. It's like,
yeah, like, again, and this is why her being a nobody is great and was a great choice, because she can be who she wants to be. And then when J.J. Abrams said no, last name, her name was
just I'm Rey, Jedi Knight.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Yeah,
you don't need like I'm Rey, a Jedi Knight.
Would have been a great choice. I genuinely think it would have been a satisfying ending if she was just like, I'm just Rey, and she wasn't, and she didn't take another character's name. She was just Rey. I think that would have been fine. I would have been happy with that ending. It's just so for me, this film really killed my interest in Star Wars. And I think it killed Star Wars for a lot of people. And I don't think Star Wars has ever recovered from this. I really don't.
I really think they found sort of a with the TV series, but
yeah, I think we'll get to that momentarily. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I like really want to mention that I don't like about this film. Using the Force to heal people. I don't care. For me, I'm happy to go with the Force to do whatever it wants, but it's just so convenient that it's like, oh, it can do this now. Like, I think it's just super convenient, and there's the terrible scene which establishes that, where they find this big, like, centipede almost creature in the sand.
Oh,
like, it's just so transparently like, oh yeah, this is gonna come back later on.
Something I do like what the films do is they sort of deconstruct the idealization of lightsabers. They're just like it's a sword. Which I think and I'm like, yeah, it's a laser sword, and I'm like, people go, but this can't be crystal, and this is it's like, nah, it's just colors,
Yeah.
I mean, they can represent something, but that's choices that are made in world. It's not, it's like, and yeah, it can be force related, but I love like the idea. I love the gold saber. I think that's cool.
I think that's cool. Yeah. I think there's the bit in Last Jedi where Luke's saber, or Anakin's saber, technically gets destroyed. They just fix
Yeah,
it for this film, which just kind of is like that was again completely redundant in the last film. And
yeah,
frankly, I think Rey should have had a staff like a Darth Maul saber because it feels
yeah,
like that's what they're
yeah.
setting up. Like, and that would just make so much more sense, and I would have liked that a lot more
It would
if
have been
she
more
just had
original
that
and a bit
instead of a
more
regular
unique.
saber, because that makes more sense for the character. If she has
Yeah,
like
Jedi
a bow
Knight with the
staff.
staff would be
Yeah,
so cool.
exactly.
But
What
I think that's what
protection.
J.J. Abrams does well, and that's the thing I'm going to mention, and then I'll rate it. But I feel like J.J. Abrams, to give credit to him, he does all those like little fan service pretty well. Like he handled, the colors of lightsabers and the stuff that a fan like little kind of meaningless shit that a fan would kind of think is cool or care about. He does pretty well. Like because you can tell he's a bit of a fan, like a bit of a nerd in that way, a bit of a Star Wars geek in that way. But just the larger world, like narrative stuff, he just seems to butcher in this whole film because he can't handle the fact that like storylines went the way they went. And I agree with him if he thinks that the specifically the use of Luke. I also am not a fan, but what's done is you got to assess the story, how it moves forward. But anyway, if I was personally to give it a rating, this film's like a 4, like at best. At best, is a 4 out of 10.
Yeah. Mm.
It's
I
it's a soft 4.
soft 4. I also just want to say multiple fake out deaths. Fucking bullshit writing.
Yeah. Oh, all the fucking time too. It's
Like
so
we
I'm
think
so over.
Chewie's dead, and then like, oh no, he's not dead, and oh, 3PO, he's had his mind erased and essentially dead, and then oh nope, that's all done, undone. It's just like, what is the point of any of this? And oh look, we think Kylo's dead, but then Rey heals him, and then oh we think Rey's dead, and then Kylo heals her, and then he's actually dead for one. He's actually dead now. It's like, why not just use the Force to bring him back? Like, come on. Like, you can't
Yeah,
establish the Force doing that. Like, that's just the problem with using the Force in that way. Is it's just like, okay, cool. So death doesn't actually mean anything because you can just undo it with the Force. Like, come on.
yeah.
Yeah. I think to just mention, I think it's a great looking film. The CGI is great.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like the visuals are great. Which is basically the only thing saving it from me really fucking hate. I mean, I do hate it. I think this is a terrible film. It's the worst Star Wars film. By a decent, I don't know if I say decent margin because I think Attack of the Clones is also really bad, but I think this one feels like more of an insult.
Yeah, because at least Attack of the
feel
Clones was just trying to add too much and do like, whereas this one's trying to redo it and trying to take
it is
too much
retconning the previous film, which is frankly something you should never do with a film, is retcon a previous film. Just continue with the cards you've been dealt. Just make a film with what has been established. Don't try and undo it because it's just going to result in objectively
unless it's funny. If it's funny, if it's for one joke, then it's fine.
I give this one a 3 out of 10. And
fair enough. I was going to, but
yeah, I can't rate it lower because like a 2 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10 because I don't think it's not bad enough to be a 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10. Like I think it just annoys me. And so there's probably films that I've given worse ratings that have pissed me off less than this film does. Like that's what I like. This film, it pisses me off more. Like there are objectively worse made films, but this film upsets me more than those other films. But
Also, just because I've
yeah,
mentioned it about almost every other, this is also 2.5.
it is.
Why
It is so.
two and a
It
half
is
hours?
so. It is. Yeah. It is absolutely way too fucking long. It's really not. Yeah. It's way too. Like, can we just make a Star Wars film under 2 hours, guys? Like, come on. Can we just make any film under 2 hours these days? Like, Jesus Christ, it is possible to do that. I say that as
Mm.
we've kept this, as this is well over 2 hours now, but hopefully I can edit it down to something less than that, so I'm not a hypocrite. I mean, do you want to quickly touch on The Mandalorian as a show very briefly, or do you want to
Oh
just
yeah,
talk about
I won't. Yeah, I won't really give it a huge rate. Like I to do if
like, have you
you.
seen all of the show, or have you only seen like some of the?
No, I've seen the series. I've seen
Okay.
3 seasons.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
two
Okay.
seasons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the three. Yeah,
That's three
yeah. Well,
seasons.
no,
Yeah. All right.
yeah. Because it was I saw. Yeah. Because it's been a while. I didn't rewatch it for the episode because
Yeah,
there's only so
no,
much
I
time
haven't.
in a week.
I
Um,
only watched season 3 very recently because I hadn't seen it because I just was so
yeah.
uninterested in season 3.
Other than Pedro Pascal, I think it's cool. I think it's dynamic. World building. It's great world. I love seeing Ahsoka too. I love some of the scenes we get, like Ahsoka. Sorry, some of the scenes we get around that.
I think this is a very good introduction to Star Wars for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Well,
It's very grounded. It's an incredibly grounded sort of narrative.
yeah, season 1 I would say. Season 2 does rely a bit more on cameos and other characters turning up.
Yeah, you got cameos, because but that's because it takes place in like a weird period. Like
Yeah,
it takes place in that time between the original trilogy, and the
yeah.
like. So
Yeah, it
the
doesn't
Boba
bother me.
Fett
It's just
stuff, to be honest, I'm not a fan of.
no, and
But
I think the problem with the show is there's all these characters that turn up, but like I don't care because they're characters I don't know. Like
mm,
Luke turning up, that's cool. I'm cool with Boba Fett being there because I know Boba Fett. But then there's like Timothy Olyphant's character in like the first episode of the second season. I'm like, who the fuck is this character? You know,
you got to watch the
like
other
that's kind
show.
of a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I hate that. I really hate that. Whereas like, oh, you actually need to watch this
yeah,
other
that's
show to
me.
get this show. Like, because it's gonna turn the audience off. Like
It's
from
the
a
same thing
business
that happened to
perspective.
Marvel, and it's what's happened to their construction as well. Is like, so you're telling me
Yeah,
I have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision and Loki to be honest, and I know that we're talking about Star Wars, but if you're only going to watch one Marvel show, watch Loki. It's the only one that matters.
Loki is to be honest,
Loki's the only one that
Loki is the
matters,
one.
really.
It's gonna connect to the next Avengers film because Loki's in it. Everything else you
Yeah,
can kind of just ignore.
but it's also a good show. Like I actually enjoy it, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
not the point. I
it
think the
like it is an
Mandalorian is
actual
the
good
same.
show.
Like because we got the Grogu Mandalorian and Grogu film coming out, and this is what we're tying it into.
Yeah.
I think it's important that
Mm.
people do watch Mandalorian. I also think it is, outside of Andor, one of the best Star Wars shows.
Yeah, I think the thing with this film, this upcoming film that we're tying this into, is it is seems to be very reliant on you having watched the show, and I think a lot of audiences aren't going to do that, and I think genuinely, I think this film is not going to do well at the box office. Like, I think it's genuinely going to be a bit of a flop at the box office. Like, I don't think it will make that much money because it requires technically 2 shows because you need to see Book of Boba Fett in between seasons 2 and 3 of Mandalorian to get it
Yeah,
because Grogu comes back, which is just fucking. Can I just say I hate that choice that they were like, oh yeah, let's just bring Grogu back, and they only did it because of money. Like it
yeah.
was not an artistic decision to bring Grogu back. It was a case of, oh man, he's really popular. Let's bring him back.
We sold so many plushies of that guy.
Yeah, and we
Everyone
can't not
loves
have him
Baby
back.
Yoda.
Yeah, which also, how much of the casual audience actually knows the name of Baby, like knows Grogu is the name of Baby Yoda?
Grogu. I don't know. They're all space racist. They're all space
Yeah,
racist. They think they all look alike.
yeah, I just think this movie is kind of set up to fail. I really don't think it's going to do well. I've been saying this for months. So my sort of
Okay.
perspective on it is like, what is the point in people going to see this movie? Because from all the marketing I've seen, it just looks like an episode of the TV show in the cinema.
Yeah, I know what you
And
mean.
so the question is, to me, why would an audience go see that in the cinema where it's like, well, it just looks like the TV show. I can just wait for it to come to streaming. I can wait for it to be on Disney Plus in a few months, and I can watch it there because
And
it just looks like a TV show. It looks like the
and
TV,
this is where this is where I
like
agree with you too. And I think the only people that are going to know, Star Wars fans who also there, it feels the audience is the niche between Star Wars fans who have seen the show and also happen to enjoy going to the cinema. So it kind of is the best of both worlds for them.
yeah,
Like where because like I love going to the cinema regardless of what I'm watching. I love the cinema experience.
yeah,
But what I'm watching is also very important. So, like, yeah, if I
yeah,
was to go to the cinema and I wanted to watch, what's a show? I don't know. But for example, and it was basically just an episode of a show, but it was at the cinema. I'm like, I really wouldn't complain too much because it'd be like, yeah, but I'm choosing to go out and do but it's weird
yeah,
because it just doesn't seem like a huge target audience for a worldwide box office release.
no. And I think interest in Star Wars is incredibly low.
Right now, it is.
Like,
If this Mandalorian and Grogu film came 2 years ago or whenever when the prequels were
yeah,
having their
if this
25th,
had come out
yeah,
after season two,
last year, yeah.
yeah, like I think if it had come out, because this is the thing with it is because there were 3 years between seasons 2 and 3, that killed viewership for the show. Like season
It
three
kills
had
so much
a
momentum.
it killed, yeah, and I mean that's just the problem with TV now is you're waiting multiple years between seasons, and that's why TV shows are not retaining viewers. Like Mandalorian season 3 lost so many viewers and was progressively losing viewers each and every week because first of all it wasn't good, and second of all there was such a gap between seasons 2 and 3 that people were just like, I don't remember this and I don't really feel like I want to watch it now because I don't care anymore. And
Well,
this
yeah.
movie is just even more of that. It has been 3 years since Mandalorian season 3 came out. Like it's been 3 years since the last season of the show came out. Like it just has killed all the momentum. And look, Andor is a beloved show, but Andor didn't have like the most amazing viewing figures either. And also Andor is a bit more niche of a show. Like I'm like as much as I
And
love
also,
Andor,
we already kind of have the end called Rogue One. Like,
yeah, exactly.
you know,
Like that's the thing
like,
as well, is Andor was made post Rogue One, so you could watch all of Andor and then you can sit at home and watch Rogue One immediately after. It's on Disney Plus.
Andor's a
It's
prequel. Andor is a prequel. Whereas,
yeah, exactly. So you
whereas,
can enjoy it and you can get, and also Disney has just conditioned audiences to wait for stuff to come to streaming. I think Disney has severely weakened the brand. I think by any metric, the brand is not as strong as it was, as it like they just haven't been able to keep the momentum that they had with Force Awakens, and that they're oversaturating the market. There's too much Star Wars now. There's too many mediocre shows that they're pumping out, and people just do not care anymore about Star Wars. Like, and so I mean, we will talk about this film in the review of the year, but I have yet to see any evidence that this film will do well, will be a success. Early pre-sales are indicating it will probably be the lowest opening for any Star Wars movie, and it's not expected to do in that well at the box office, certainly when it releases. So I'm just like, I just think it's a fundamentally flawed film. Honestly, I think the film existing is just it's a bad idea. And I know people are like,
it is
oh,
interesting though. Like with director John Favreau, like a lot
mm.
done. I am keen. I am keen to you know
Look,
watch it. And
yeah, I will see it. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna see it because I will be seeing it. I'll probably go see it with my mum, because this is the film I can see with my mum because most of the stuff I want to watch, she doesn't care about or it doesn't want to watch because it's horror or something. I think I am more than just a casual Star Wars fan, and I really am not interested in this film. I really don't know what this film has got for me, and I'm more
Yeah.
I
Well, I
just don't
mean,
know what this film is gonna give people, and I just don't know. Yeah, I just think it's doomed to fail. I really do. It's not gonna do well, and to be honest, I don't even think it will be like a good film. I really think it's gonna probably be a pretty, at best, a mediocre film, leaning on the side of bad. It'll be like a light 5 to a strong 6. No, strong 5 to a light 6. That's why I see this film ending up.
oh, fair enough. I mean, I'm definitely looking for. Well, like as is in just fucking curiosity. So we'll see how we go. I don't really have
Yeah,
expectations, but
yeah. And look,
yeah.
I do say I want to be wrong. I want this to be a good film. I want to think it's a great film. I just nothing I've seen about it yet indicates that it will be a good film to me. And there are people who have seen it already, and they're like, "Oh, it's so great!" But these are Star Wars fans. Like there was a profile where someone was like, "Oh yeah, this is a great Star Wars film," and then I look at the Twitter handle, and it's like Star Wars Cosmic News or something, and I'm like, "Oh, there's no bias there," you know. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it in the review of the year. I'm very interested to see where we land on it because I really don't know. Because right now it's looking like I'm gonna dislike it, but who knows? Maybe it could
Well,
surprise
only
me.
time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, it comes out this week. Um, so yeah, I hope you have enjoyed listening. It has been a very, very long recording. I'm very aware of that.
Mm.
Thank you, Harry, for joining me for this week.
Oh, thank you for having me, as always, of course.
Yeah, and I hope you've all enjoyed listening, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.